Good morning, everyone. In this video, I'm going to address some of the questions that have been sent to me via the Google form. The first question: is it compulsory for me to make sure that my project ends up in building a solution in form of a system? Whoever asked this question did not read the handbook, so I suggest that you go and look at the guidelines that I have mentioned in there. If you are not clear about what I wrote, then you can ask me a specific question. In a nutshell, you are BIT and BIS students, hence your degree is all about understanding the development of, the use of information system and technologies. Hence your research will fall in that area. Sometimes it's not necessarily about building a solution. It can be about tweaking a solution, combining solutions or technologies to solve a particular problem. Sometimes it's about a human-computer interaction aspects, and sometimes it's about the legal aspects and the ethical aspects in using a certain solution. I want you to think about the kind of jobs that you will look at in gaining. So sometimes, yes, it's about developing a solution. You might want to add this component in your research, in building a solution. Why? Because you are practicing. This is your opportunity in which you show off the skills that you've learned. The second question: after the feedback you had sent me, I modified some areas of my project. May I please send the modified project to you for another feedback before I send it to the supervisor for discussion? I have already addressed this issue. I will not have time to look at every single modification that a student makes on their dissertation. So I want you to ask specific questions. It's not fair for you, and this is something that should guide you in your approach with your supervisor. If you always do this, you are putting your supervisor in a position in which they have to reread the document. Now that takes time. And it's okay to do it once, twice. So for example, when you are submitting your research proposal, before you submit, you'll be discussing the whole document with your supervisor. But it's always better to work in a modular form. Focus on the introduction first, and make sure that your introduction is up to scratch. So what do you need to put in the introduction? Well, an introduction to the context of your research with all the facts that are relevant, the problem that you are identified with, the important aspects. So, that's what you do. You work in a modular form. So you think, okay, supervisor or coordinator, please, can you look? I've identified this problem, and these are the things that I have added in there. I have challenges with this or challenges with that, and you ask specific questions. You're more likely to get a response than to simply send something like this. Well, I've modified. Can you please look again at everything? Okay, you need to highlight specific areas where you need help. And just to mention another thing, you do have a supervisor, and the reason you have a supervisor is to help, to lift the burden on the coordinator. So the coordinator is not the supervisor of all the students. The coordinator is somebody that guides you in your research process, make sure that students are on track, and they are following the guidelines. Okay, so I can help, but please, can you send specific questions to make it easier? Okay, this is another thing that was sent. It's not necessarily a question, but I have reworked on my title, Introduction, Objectives and Methodology. I just need your coordination on the proposal concept posting now. Okay, it's the same question as before. As I said, it's better to highlight the part of your proposal for which you need help. Okay, you need to identify in that a specific question. For example, please look at my objective 2, right? Explain briefly your reasoning behind stating that objective, and where and then say, what is your actual difficulty, yeah, and then you ask the question. Okay, so let me correct some of these mistakes that I've done. Okay, now this is very good practice. Why? Well, first of all, you immediately draw the attention of the coordinator and your supervisor to a specific issue. Now, of course, I might actually have to read a little bit more in your document, but I will do that. If you say, oh, just read everything, please, again, I've changed something. I don't even know where you've changed. You need to say, I've changed this based on what you said. Okay, the other thing to say is have confidence. And confidence only comes through work. This is your research, so you are already in year 4, so you have to trust some of your logic and your reasoning. So, when you go through the document, you won't be able to get feedback on every single sentence. And also, people write things differently, in different styles, using different formulations. So, it's not my role to tell you how to write. Yeah, and it's important that you ask the key questions, the ones where you really are struggling. Okay, so again, when I receive questions like this, what you're asking me to do is to reread everything again and again. Okay, please formulate specific questions. It also helps you when you formulate specific questions and you think and you write down the process in which you have come up with a particular thing. It helps you understand it better. And you might even answer some questions for yourself without having to ask them. Okay, another one. I'm confused with the concept writing part, because for those who write theirs in 3rd year, it is more like a research proposal. For me, I changed my topic. Is it supposed to be in the same format in the 3rd year, and do I need to stick to the project proposal format? Again, why are you asking this question? Have you not looked at the handbook? The handbook explains the components of the proposal. Yes? All the components you need to include in the proposal. There are even checklists to help you. Okay, now you're going to see that this proposal is going to be it's going to include the parts that you had in year 3. Okay, so you have introduction or background to your research, formulating the problem statement, formulating aims and objectives, and then methodology. Okay, it's similar components, but in this one, as I said in the handbook, you need to develop the ideas that you had in year 3. Okay, so it's the same thing but developed. Developed to what? Developed to such an extent that this is a blueprint. It gives you enough information to help you carry the research. What does that mean? Well, you have specific objectives. Imagine you writing this document and then hiring another firm, let's say, to carry out the research. It should be clear. What is it that you're looking for? What problem are you solving? What are the actual objectives? You might not put details of implementation, no, but at least you specify what kind of research you are conducting and how. So what I can say quite clearly is that one of the biggest change between what you're doing now and year 3 is that your methodology will become more clear and more specific. Some of you might have to redefine and improve on your other components, like the background, the problem statement, and the objective. I don't think you should be stuck on that. If you don't find a way to formulate your objective better, that means that there might be some issues that you need to clarify in the background. Or in the problem statement, maybe it's not clear enough. It doesn't enable you to formulate something specific. Yes? So this is a process that you'll be going through in this semester. Okay, another question. Somebody wants access to the Turnitin tool before submitting my proposal if possible. I will give access. I need to first see how to do that. But, the key thing here is that when you do research, it's quite natural to not find your own words. So you attempted to copy paste. Well, what you should be in the habit of is rewording that. So even if you find something that you really like, you can't just write it the way it is. You can reword it. You can do it exactly at the same time when you're writing, okay? Or you should highlight it. Maybe use a different font. Use a highlight. Let's say that this is a paragraph you copied. Okay, you can put it in italics, because this will tell you next time, this is something that is not written by me. You can highlight it, change the font. I don't know what you want to do. Something to help you say, I need to rephrase that. Need to rephrase. So next time when you're coming back to your document, you will know that this is something you do need to rephrase. Okay? Let's go to the next question. The last one. According to the handbook. Nice. Thank you for starting the question in this way. The topic needs us to identify the setting. I haven't been able to find one, as I'll have to search for an organization and ask for permission first. Well, of course. How did you think of proposing something that you don't know how to do it? I mean, what's the point of proposing a research project, but that you don't know whether you'll be able to execute that, or you won't be able to do the research? This is also a document in which you determine some of the feasibility. So if you propose a research to an organization somewhere, well, that's too general, right? You need to be careful that, perhaps you will need to contact similar organizations. Why do you need to contact them? Well, you need to gather your requirements. You need to be able to, let's say you build a solution. And let's take this scenario, right? You want to build a software for a type of organizations. Okay, so let's say schools. Okay, so you want to build a software for schools, and you haven't identified the school. Well, first of all, question to you, how do you know, the specifications for this type of software? Well, you can answer to me, experience. I have some experience. Maybe I spoke to somebody. Well, that becomes your informer, right, for data collection. You spoke to someone. I saw some problems when I was a student. Yes? So this be like something that is known, but is known informally. So it's known informally. Okay. Fine, no problem. Or I read an article. Or I saw similar systems. And I want to do one that's the same. Fine. That is okay. But now, remember, you are trying to build a solution. So this has to be relevant. It has to really be a solution. So you will need now to make this information, so the knowledge, the informal knowledge, or specifications that you might know, need to be made formal. You need to now investigate. Yes? You need to do a bit of data collection. Basically, you need to identify possible clients. Okay? So it's okay if you haven't really gone to the school.